All right, hey everybody that's continued along my journey. Welcome back. This is part two of my mustard seed faith journey. So, mind you, all along this whole time, I had to have a deeper relationship with God. And I don't think I mentioned this in the first video or at all. But one of the major reasons why I decided to get my PhD is because I clearly heard God tell me to do it. Now, he didn't tell me how I was going to have to do, because if he told me, I probably would have said no immediately. But he told me was, you can do it. You can do it. You can get your PhD. And so I held on to that promise that I could finish. Even when I wanted to quit, I was holding on to it because I was like, maybe I'll quit and I'll transfer to someone else. Like, I never kind of let go of that promise that I had. But all of the challenges that I faced seemed insurmountable, and I didn't have the energy. I had so much doubt in myself, because at this point I had been questioned as a writer. I had been questioned as a good student. I had been questioned of, like, am I worthy of even being in this top program? And, like, I'm not getting the support that I need. And, like, I had all those challenges, but I was still holding on to my promise. And so at every single point that I tried to quit, and I mean I tried to quit, God sent someone or something to interfere or intercede, like, in that process, and I didn't quit. Whether it was Dr. Span, or whether it was Casey, or Dr. Trent, or even her name was Dr. Susan Meyer, Susan Lindenmeyer, who was in the College of Engineering, who heard about me somehow. I don't even know how now, that she heard about me and gave me a job. Like, at every point, it was like God was saying no. And around that year, when Sarita called and asked me to come to Atlanta, I was really like tired of Champaign. Everyone pretty much that was in my cohort had graduated or moved on, or they were about to graduate and move on. The friends that I had gained at the time, they were on their way out, in their final stages, and I'm still at this point in my qualifying exams, and I needed money, I needed health insurance, I missed my family, I missed my niece so much, and just growing up, like, I just had all of this. And I remember praying. I was on my way to the dry cleaners in Champaign, and I said this prayer to God. I said, God, you know what's in my heart, and you know how I feel. You know what you've destined for me. If you want me to stay here in this place, you're going to have to renew my spirit for this. And if you decide that I want to move, I'll move when you want me to move. But for now, if you have me here, you have to restore my spirit. You have to renew it. And I just prayed that prayer. I picked up my dry cleaning. I went home and to my apartment and was like, okay, God, I was done. Like, once you say amen, that's it. It's done. He knew, and that was it. And things actually started to turn around in Champaign after I prayed that, and I got a renewed sense of spirit and a renewed sense of, like, I can do this. I can do this. I can persist. I can push through. I can get it done. Like, I felt some renewing after that prayer. And so when Sarita called with this offer or this opportunity, it wasn't an offer yet. It was just an opportunity. I felt so torn, right? Because I just gotten into this place of, okay, I can be done if I'm here another year and a half, and I can tough it out. I can do this. But then on the other hand, there's this whole new opportunity. And at the time, people were losing their jobs, like, because this was like right after the recession, kind of like 2010. So people were still not sure of their employment. And even though my friends were graduating, but they didn't have jobs. But they were still looking for jobs. And here a job opportunity was coming to me while I was still in school. And I was like, I've got to take it. I prayed about it, and I accepted the offer. And I moved to Atlanta over Christmas holiday. And so at the time, there were some friends, there were some counselors, there were some advisors who did not recommend me moving back to Atlanta. They were like, I don't recommend it. It's not a good idea. One of my friends at the time, we're not friends right now. At the moment, maybe we will be again one day, said, you're not going to finish. Like, I doubt you're ever going to finish. You're going to move to Atlanta, and that's going to be it. You're never going to become a doctor. And that's really difficult for a friend to tell you, like somebody that you feel is a trusted advisor, someone, that you feel has your best interest, but for them to doubt you and be like, you're never going to do it. But I had to stay firm in what I knew, and the little faith that I had, and the belief that I had that I knew this was the best decision for me. And I went forth and I just tried to get the best support. And Dr. Trent, although it was like him, it's going to be very hard for you to work for full time and finish. I did it, and it's going to be extremely difficult for you. But I was like, I got it. I know I can do it. I can do it. He was right. Like he was right. And if someone else were to come and ask me, well, first, of course, I would tell them to pray about it. And I would also tell them the difficulties and give them a realistic perspective of what it means to work full time and complete your degree. And complete your degree away from your home university. So what all that means to do. But I went for it anyway. And I don't know if you want to call it naivete. I don't know what you want to call it. But I'm going to call it my mustard seed faith, because I had a little mustard seed of faith. I moved to Atlanta, and I did. And so when I got back to Atlanta again, I was working full time. I was actually still like a quarter time research assistant on the NSF project with Dr. Trent. But I didn't have any data anymore, because what I was going to do my project on, they told me no. And so I had to start literally in year 6 all the way over. Meaning everything that I had written up to that point, I couldn't use. So I had to start all the way over. New research, new literature review, new research questions, new data, new everything. But for God and for Dr. Trent. Dr. Trent was like, Kim, you can use any of the data that we've collected for the NSF project. You've been a research assistant. You know the data. You've done the work. You have permission to use this. And I was like, great. So what I decided to do was I had to reflect on my interests and what I had done before. So before I came to Illinois, I was working at Spelman College as a program evaluation coordinator in their science center. And I was the evaluator for about 6 of their STEM intervention programs. And so what I did was I was like, okay, well, that was an interest to me then. I have this set of qualitative data over here from Dr. Trent about women in STEM intervention programs. I'll use that. Great. So now I have a topic or an interest. So I had to rewrite. So all of my, I couldn't use any of my qualifying exam stuff. So I had to start over from the very beginning. A new literature review. And your literature review, like a new introduction, new everything. And I'm here in Atlanta. So Dr. Trent and I would have Skype meetings. And I had another godsend was my dear friend Jory. So I met Jory while I was at Illinois. And Jory graduated from Illinois around about my 3rd year in my program. But we become good friends. And she had moved to Georgia to be a professor at the University of Georgia, which is my other my other alma mater. So I was like, well, Jory, can you just help me? So Jory helped me a lot. She was like an unofficial member of my committee. She helped me so much. And at one point I was like, well, God, should I ask Jory to be on my committee? I don't want to ruin our friendship. I don't, I want us to still remain friends. So for a long time I didn't ask Jory if she would be a member on my committee. And I think she was still finding her footing, and we were both like, we don't want it to mess up our relationship. But I think it actually brought us much closer. She's one of my dearest, dearest, dearest friends. And she agreed to be on my committee. And so even though I had Dr. Trent and Dr. Span and Dr. Green who believed in me, they were in Champaign. I had Joy who was here. And, she volunteered to read my stuff and she helped me so much. And she's a methodologist. So she really helped me with my method section and really thinking like about my project as a whole. And she was my advocate. Let me tell you, Jory would go to conferences and she would see like Dr. Trent or other people on my committee, and she would talk to them about me and they would ask about me, and it was like she was my advocate in helping me finish. And I think Jory may have been more determined to get me out of school than I was to get me out of school. But she believed in me and she's my friend and I love her so much. And so that all was happening at the same time. Like, I was trying to finish and working full time and trying to have life and trying to get healthy and trying to do. I was a try somebody. I just try, and so I never gave up and I kept going and I kept going. But my timeline for when I could finish was nearing closer and closer and closer and closer. I switched jobs in between this time. I got more responsibilities. Things were happening in my personal life. Like, great things were happening in my personal life. And so it's like, well, how am I going to fit in this thing? And so even while I was here in Atlanta, I redid my qualifying exams. So I told you I had to do some revisions. I did data analysis for my research assistantship while I was working full time. I wrote my preliminary exam. And so in my program, your preliminary exam is the first 3 chapters of your dissertation. So I did that while I was working full time. And I finished all that in October 2015. So I had in my mind, okay, it's going to take me 1 more year and I'll be done. Well, I was still working full time and I was doing a qualitative exam, which takes a lot of time of like gathering documents, analyzing documents, finding software, developing themes. Like, it just took forever. It took me a whole year and a half, maybe, just doing my qualitative data analysis. Because I was working full time. And so one of my jobs I just started, I was working sometimes like 13, 14-hour days and still being like, okay, but I have this deadline that I've set for myself. And I just felt like beat down, stressed, tired. Like, what am I doing? I just want to quit, but I've come too far to quit. There's so many people in my corner backing me. I can't let them down. I can't let myself down. But I am like physically exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted. I'm spiritually drained. Like, I would have to have private praise parties to encourage myself to keep going, and check-ins with God to make sure, God, am I still on the right track? And when my finances was looking funny and the assistantship was finally over, meaning, they were helping to pay my tuition, but now I don't have that, but I'm still in this program. Like, what am I going to do? And at every time when I needed money, money came. Or if I needed some more support came. And it was just a mustard seed of faith because I couldn't do it. Like, my being was done. But my spirit was not. So I had to just keep going. So that's part 2, which is, the middle part of a story is not always the interesting part. And it's the part that nobody really wants to talk about. It's the painful part. It's the hard part. It's the challenging part. It's the part where you're just mirrored in dust and dirt and you don't know what you're doing parts of it. That's part 2. So if you're still interested, keep going. I'll bring you on part 3.